And hello, everyone. I'm meteorologist Sean Sublette from the Richmond Times-Dispatch with the early afternoon update on the weather situation across central Virginia. All of central Virginia does remain under a tornado watch until 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's the big picture. And that means that the threat for tornadoes is in the air, if you will, until about 3 o'clock. Ingredients are coming together very quickly for the development of tornadoes and thunderstorms with damaging winds. Now, regarding any kinds of warnings for the moment, most of those are immediately southward from Richmond. And this is the key right now. There is no active warning in place right now for immediate metropolitan Richmond. There is a cluster of storms that's farther to the south that needs to be monitored especially closely as it's moving north very quickly. This is in Dinwiddie County. There is a tornado warning for about another 15 minutes, and this is in the western part of Dinwiddie County. So you're coming in eastward from Blackstone, west of the town of Dinwiddie, kind of between I-85 and 460, moving north. This is likely coming in westward from Petersburg. Petersburg's not much of a threat, but it's not awfully far from McKinney right now, moving to the north about 35 miles an hour. Not been able to confirm that a tornado is on the ground, but there are strong suggestions in the radar imagery that this particular cell in that part of Dinwiddie County does have a rotation of about 40 or 50 miles per hour at about 4,000 or 5,000 feet above the ground. And oftentimes that does suggest that there may be a tornado forming or in the process of forming, perhaps even on the ground. So the idea here is to be at the lowest level in any dwelling that you're in, building, whatever, and stay away from windows. That's really the key anytime that you're under a tornado warning. And for the moment, this is the only active warning across Virginia. So here's the radar summary over the last hour or so. And again, you see a few of the little green blips here and there indicating that a lot of central Virginia has been in a bit of a lull for the past 2 or 3 hours or so. But this is the area we were referring to immediately beforehand. There's that one particularly strong cell in western Dinwiddie County toward McKinney, and that is advancing northward. Just checking, and just now we've got a tornado warning that came out from our colleagues at the Weather Service office in Wakefield. And I'll just read it to you straight up. This has just come in within the last 15 seconds or so. Tornado warning for south central Chesterfield County, north central Dinwiddie, and southeastern Amelia. All right, so to reiterate, there's not confirmation that there's a tornado on the ground, but this is the cell that we're talking about right now, because here's Amelia County, and of course, here's Chesterfield County right now. So this is the particular cell that we're watching as it's about to cross into Amelia County and into western Chesterfield County. All right, so probably near Sutherland by 125. Other locations likely to be impacted: Rocky Run, Church Road, Five Forks, Walkers, Beach, down the part of Chesterfield County. All right, so this is kind of what we've been waiting for, honestly. We figured as we got into the afternoon, everything would become a little bit more active. So again, for the moment, immediate Richmond, the city itself, not under a threat. But these are the areas that we continue to watch advancing very rapidly from the south. So if you do get a warning to your phone or whatever, be sure you're in the lowest room of whatever building you're in and away from windows. I want to go in a little bit farther and look specifically at the wind in here. This is a lot of funky colors, I get that, but these are the in-storm winds. We look at how they change toward the radar and then away from a radar. That gives us a semblance of where the rotation is in any kind of particular storm. So with that, I do want to go in a little bit more closely. All right, so there's Chesterfield County right in the middle of the screen, okay? So that's going to be Swift Creek Reservoir, Brandon Mills out this way, and then we go south into Dinwiddie County. Again, there's Amelia, and there's the one cell you can see right there. See how it's that bright red right next to that bright green? That's telling us that there's a very strong circulation toward and then away from the radar. Similarly, there's an additional circulation farther south into Brunswick County near Alberta. That one's moved through. So this is what we're thinking about in these next 30, 60, 90 minutes for greater Richmond, especially the west side of town. If you're going west of Route 1, west of I-95, these are the cells that we're most concerned about. Again, still waiting to see if there's any kind of confirmation. Again, this is not an overly densely populated area, so it's hard to get any confirmation anything is on the ground there. But our colleagues at the Weather Service office there in Wakefield, with the rotation continuing to persist and the environment the way it is, we decided to continue the tornado warning, now extending Dinwiddie into southern Chesterfield, which I would do the same thing if I was them. That's really the smart thing to do. And even here in Midlothian, in our Midlothian office, you could tell the sky is getting darker because the weather is coming from the south. All right, so these are the areas to be concerned about going forward into the next 60 to 90 minutes or so. So the takeaway is the tornado threat continues through the evening. As we think about immediate metropolitan Richmond, the west side of town in particular, over the next 60 to 90 minutes or so. Don't be surprised if your phone goes off and you get a tornado warning. We have not been able to confirm one is on the ground, but again, these circulations for the time being are in fairly rural locations, so it's hard to get a ground confirmation. Respect the warnings. You could still have easily 50, 60 mile an hour straight line winds. Even if it's not tornadic, you could have damaging wind gusts. So be sure you're inside, away from windows, lowest level of your home, as these things push through between now and say 2:30 or so. Aside from that, we're still going to have these numerous rounds of rain, and it's going to be breezy and humid. But we really think it's the next 1 to 3 hours or so for metropolitan Richmond that is key. If you're just joining us on the stream, these are the areas that are under the tornado watch until 3 o'clock. And to be fair, they will probably be extended a little bit later on into the afternoon. Regarding the specific active warnings, we'll pull this one up and talk about it a little bit further. There it is, the tornado warning until 1:30 in the afternoon for Amelia, Chesterfield, and Dinwiddie counties. Again, this is just barely moving into Chesterfield for the time being. This is not toward Centralia. This is not up toward Brandon Mill. This is not toward Bon Air yet. All right, but this is the direction it's coming from the south and southwest, moving about 30, 35 miles per hour. Waiting to see if there's confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but take any warning seriously if it pings to your phone, and be sure you wait a storm out for 30 or 45 minutes. You don't want to be driving around when this thing is out. There's a little bit of thunder and lightning out there, but don't be surprised if it gets really dark and you don't have this big thunder and lightning cue because they're not overly electric. The thunder is not especially loud, that kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to pull this back out one more time just to help you get your bearings about where things are. So if you're in Ashland, if you're in Mechanicsville, if you're in Varina, if you're in Matoaca, if you're in Petersburg, we think you're going to be far enough to the east from this first wave of storms. But again, having said that, as we've been talking about all morning, the weather's coming from the south today, and there is additional development down here near the North Carolina state line, down 95 toward Emporia. So these next couple of hours are going to be critical for the threat of damaging winds in immediate greater Central Virginia, metropolitan Richmond. Take the warning seriously. We will be live streaming again as needed. But for the moment, we're going to take a break and we'll start up another live stream shortly. Take the warning seriously and we'll be back with you soon.